Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
A reminder, all of our guests today, including Craig Button, standing by. Brought to you by the Bayside Oceanfront Resort. By the way, the contest, people texting in, let me just say, most of them bang on with the answer to the question. Not Kodak Black. Located oceanside in beautiful Parksville, the Bayside Resort is one of Vancouver Island's premier spots to get away, unwind, and recharge. Call now to book your reservation. And mention Donnie and Dolly for 10% off your nightly room rate. Book your island getaway today at BaysideOceanfrontResort.com or call 250-248-8333. A year into this, one of our favorite regulars, as always, from back in the funny station, TSN Scouting Director Craig Button joining us now. How are you, sir?
I'm really good, Donnie and Rick. And, just as you mentioned about your year into this, I want to tell you guys how happy I am to be part of your show. And, it's something that I always look forward to on a weekly basis. And, really appreciate you asking me to be part of something that you guys have really made very successful.
Well, no-brainer to have you aboard, Craig, and we know how busy you are. You're on late last night. I'm watching you talk about Auston Matthews and his hat trick. And all kidding aside about what we say about Toronto out here, he gets the hat trick, 54 goals. You said something to the effect last night about how he has the ability to slow the game down. How unique of a skill is that?
It is, because when we talk about, the speed and the pace and the quickness of the game, there's such an emphasis on that. But, the great John Wooden, and for people that don't know who he was, he was a longtime basketball coach at UCLA, won multiple national championships, probably fitting on this Tuesday to talk about him after the national championship March Madness game on Monday that Kansas won. But he had a saying, he said, you want to be quick but not in a hurry. And by that was, sometimes players are racing into places. The goal that he scored, second goal, is just such a perfect example because a lot of players want to race to the net. But if you watch Auston on that play, he kind of gives a little bit of an eye to Mitch Marner, and then he gives himself, the appropriate space in front of the net to be able to deflect that puck over Andrei Vasilevsky. And a lot of players are so determined to drive a net or to get somewhere quick and, being able to maintain your space. The first goal that he did with he's up against Eric Chernik. Eric Chernik, 6'4", 6'5". And if you're going to race into Eric Chernik, you're going to run into a brick wall. But Auston gets the puck. He slows it up a little bit. Now Eric Chernik, he's kind of in between. And when you get in between, you can't reach your stick out there and extend yourself. And Eric can do that very well. And as Auston just is able to kind of, I don't want to say glide into it, but move in there, all of a sudden he's got that space and then boom, he snaps it off. And, it's an ability that I think is underrated. I think it's an ability that the best players have. And I compare it to F1 driving. It's not a drag race. If it's just a drag race, let's go as fast as you can and get to the finish line. F1 racing requires you to gear up, gear down, hairpin turns, open it up on the open road, but being able to slow down when you're coming around a corner or you're going to crash. I think it's the same thing in sport and certainly with hockey. And, I hope that that's a definition and an outline that describes what I was talking about.
Well, you mentioned hockey and comparing it to F1 and college basketball. And, of course, a lot of people will compare the game of hockey, the people who excel, to you at pickleball as well, Craig. Going back a bit.
Well, yeah. One of the things about pickleball, though, so my wife's family's from northwestern Ontario, specifically Sulikout. I'll send you a picture this afternoon that feel free to use. So we were there last summer, and we were at the pickleball courts indoors, and the guys at the arena, because it was in the arena, they wanted to have some fun with me, so they made me sign a waiver, and I had to put on a helmet and a cage and some shoulder pads. I'll send you the picture. You guys can have a good laugh. So, you know what? I ski, And you know what? I have no problem going down the ski hill and not being injured, but put me on the pickleball court. I don't know what it is. Like, it's a dangerous sport.
Yeah, for people who don't know, Craig suffered an infamous pickleball injury. He's sporting a black eye on one of our shows not that long ago. Back to the Leafs. I hate doing this, but back to the Leafs. 5 straight. They won 8 of 10. They've added Giordano. Matthews is hot. Marner is hot. Is the mix there? We all know about the goaltending, but is the mix there for a significant playoff run, Craig?
Well, I think the confidence is there now for the team to believe that they can do some damage in the playoffs. And, you know, what I find very interesting, Donnie and Rick, is that, you know, they had some real issues with the goaltending. And then they were left with no choice but to put Eric Källgren in the net. And he went into the net, and he just gave them this real nice stability. And it almost seemed, once he went in, that it was able to allow everybody to breathe a little bit easier, mostly the players. Because the players always know, okay, geez, we're going to be on our heels. You're sitting on the bench. Is that shot going to go in? You know, are we going to be playing from behind? And that's what they were doing a lot of the time for too long. And despite that, we're still winning games. But since Källgren went in there, you know, Mrazek had a couple of good games as well. Jack Campbell's come back and won 2 games. He was very good on Monday night in Tampa Bay. You know, to me, you get that component of your game in order. It relaxes people, and now you can just go and play. I see a team that's really comfortable playing. I see a team that's dangerous. And one of the interesting things is, Kyle Dubas said it last year after they had lost, you know, I think that our team can learn from this. And what I'm seeing is more evidence that they are learning. And I'll tell you this, last night and last Tuesday in Boston, I think were 2 really good examples. They're excellent when they have the puck. They haven't been so great at times, you know, in positioning themselves without the puck. Boston last Tuesday, Monday night in Tampa Bay, they created a lot of their advantages by such strong play without the puck and being in the right spots. And that's playoff hockey. So you see evidence of that, and there's every reason to build your confidence that this team can be a team that has to be reckoned with come playoff time.
Craig, 12 games to go for the Canucks. The playoffs don't look good. At what point do you say bring the kids up from Abbotsford, or is it as obvious? Maybe it's not as obvious. They have to earn it. But what are your thoughts on bringing the kids up and playing the heck out of them down the stretch?
Yeah, here's what I think. I mean, the playoffs are over for the Vancouver Canucks. You can look at the possibilities. The probabilities are over. There's just no way they're going to make it. And, you know, and we know they have some injuries. So what I would say to you, Rick, is that, you know, it's not just like you're not going to just bring up players just to bring them up. But I think there's real benefits accrued for player and organization. For the player, coming up, younger players to understand how quick the game is, how much stronger you have to be, that leads into the summertime to get really prepared with a better knowledge of what it's going to take to play in the NHL next year and to compete for a spot. You can tell players forever and a day, hey, you got to be stronger, you got to be quicker, you got to be faster. You know, I did it in development, and it was amazing when players came up and then they got a taste of it, and then they go, oh boy, I know what you mean now. Because they think they're strong enough and they think they're fast enough and quick enough. But until they get into those types of games and see exactly what it is. So I think there's real significant benefits for the players to be able to take that into the off season and be ready to come next season. For management, you get to see where players are at. It also helps you make decisions in the off season. Okay, this player might be a little bit closer to being able to contribute to our team than we thought. So you get a glimpse of that. The third thing of this is, as you're playing down the stretch and you're playing out the schedule, you know, there's nothing like having some youthful enthusiasm in your lineup. That can be infectious for the players that have been there for a long time and the older players that are established NHL players. And you don't want to just go into games and just have that spirit kind of be soggy and, oh God, we got to get through this game. And after tonight, there's only 11 more games. And after the next game, there's only 10. You know, so I think there's 3 areas that I think can benefit all parties involved by doing that.
And Craig, before we let you go, running out of time here, but is any good going to come out of the Zegras Terry Beagle situation last Friday night?
I don't know. It's a good question, Donnie. I mean, it's interesting that we see the incident happen. We've seen different things happen. I really believe that the commentary by Tyson Nash is the one that's got everybody's attention. And it was an attention grabber, and understanding where Tyson was coming from, where he played and everything. But I just don't think there should be an expectation that if you're enjoying playing the game, and whether you're smiling or smirking or got fancy moves or you got skill, bottom line is you shouldn't expect to have to be punched. And that shouldn't be in any player's mind that if I play this way. Now, no player, it's a competitive environment, and we know it is, and no player wants to be embarrassed by an opponent. But I don't think when another team has skill or they're enjoying doing their skill, that's reason enough to just say, hey, listen, I have the right now to punch you in the face, and you as a player on the other side should expect that. I don't agree with that in any way, shape, or form. But PK Subban, Jack Hughes got hit on a game on Saturday, and he went or Sunday, excuse me, and he went right after the player, and he got thrown out of the game, and nothing more came of it. And the players on the ice are going to do things that they feel are necessary, but there's consequences for them. And, whether that be penalties in the game or supplemental discipline from the Department of Player Safety, that's what you have to expect. But I think the commentary by Tyson was the thing that got everybody's kind of attention and said, wait a second here, that's not appropriate. I don't care if you got skill, and I don't care how it was when Tyson played or anybody else. There used to be bench clearing brawls. Yeah. They're not that anymore. We don't need them.
Craig, thanks for this, and thanks for the past year. Appreciate it so much.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Yeah,
you
take
bet.
care.